Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to talk more about uranium. We're going to look at ratios to see how uranium is progressing toward, not toward, but against other asset classes in commodities. What we want to see is we want to see an outperformance of the commodity that we want to be invested in. And right now, uranium looks absolutely excellent. I'm going to look at the futures pricing of the commodity itself. And I'm also going to look at the ETF versus other ETFs. And this is going to get you a full picture of just how good uranium looks at this moment. I'm not here to try to boost uranium or get people even more excited on it. I'm just showing you the outperformance that could potentially occur here and the valuation runway ahead of us. So let's dive in and take a look and see how uranium is doing against other asset classes. So this is uranium versus silver. We've got a big green candlestick breaking out of this basing zone. Again, we can see a vast outperformance of uranium. Uranium versus the S&P 500. Remember that momentum that we are starting to generate, and it's now broken to the upside. We've broken out of that base, and we've got good momentum. So again, we've got a long way to go to the upside for potential uranium outperformance against the S&P 500. Uranium versus gold. We are starting to break out of its last kind of resistance line, and uranium could be running like a cheetah in the open. it's We could get a very big outperformance of the physical price versus the physical price of gold. Uranium versus crude oil. Uh, Surprisingly, it's held its ground. Crude oil, surprisingly. So it's holding up quite well, and we could see crude oil also outperform alongside uranium. Uranium versus copper, big breakout, big massive move this past week. There's this past week. We are continuing to outperform copper, and we are breaking out of its basing pattern. Uranium versus nat gas. Even though nat gas is cheap, uranium is still outperforming it at this time. Uranium versus Dow Jones. We've got a big, huge move this past week past 2 weeks for uranium to outperform Dow Jones. And I know Dow Jones has been struggling in terms of heading higher. So uranium is breaking out of this resistance line, and we are ready to rip. Uranium versus platinum. It's outperforming platinum. And we've got a nice big candlestick this past week for that outperformance. Then we've got uranium versus the M2 money supply, and we've got a vast outperformance of that as well. Now I want to put another one in here. Let's do uranium versus Baltic Dry Index, because Baltic Dry Index has been a beast. So here's not supposed to be CB, it's supposed to be BD. Why did it put in CB? Interesting. Let's do this backwards here. Baltic Dry Index divided by 2x1. I don't know what's with CB1. Sorry guys. Butter futures cash? What the heck? Anyway, we're gonna skip that. Here's BDI versus gold. I was just trying to get Baltic Dry Index up. Doesn't want to pull up against uranium though. All right, so looking at URNM. This is URNM versus XLE. Vast outperformance of URNM, the ETF, versus XLE is the gold, or no, the oil and gas exploration production companies, the bigger ones. So we're getting a big outperformance there. This is the weeklies, just ripping it. We've got URNM versus XOP. XOP is the little bit smaller oil and gas exploration production. Nice big breakout here. You can see we had resistance on it. And uranium, the ETF and the futures pricing, it's breaking out against these long sideways. These are sideways patterns. Just to let you guys know, breaking a steep downtrend line is pretty easy and not very powerful. As the trend line gets less steep, the breakout becomes more powerful. So we're breaking a horizontal line in all of these instances, which means that we are breaking very strong resistance levels. And they're gigantic, long basing patterns. So when we break these, it's going to move and potentially could have more momentum behind it. URNM versus the commodity CRB index, vast outperformance. You can see this breakout there. We've got URNM versus OIH, outperformance. Looks good. We came back and retested it, the support level, and now we're breaking out to the upside. URNM versus REMX. Look at that, guys. This is straight domination. You can buy so many more shares if you had purchased URNM in relationship to REMX given July of 23. It was 0.37 all the way. You basically doubled your share count of REMX holding URNM. URNM versus COPX, another vast outperformance, just ripping it. And then we've got URNM versus the S&P 500. We have a squeeze there that we're squeezing up, and we've broken that to the upside with an outperformance of URNM. So just kind of looking across the board here, guys, URNM and the uranium futures pricing looks absolutely excellent against all the other asset classes. So that's what I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.